Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Girl Dad Show. Today I have a special guest, Jonathan, with me. Jonathan, what's going on, man?
It's going well, man. I can't complain. A great day. Beautiful day to be a father. A beautiful day to be an entrepreneur, I guess. Yeah.
I love that. That's a good attitude and mindset. Let's jump right in. Why don't you tell the listeners who you are and what you do for a living?
Yeah. So for years, I've always said that like my job first when you introduce yourself to people is like naturally you're just like, well, I'm the X of X, right? And like now being a girl dad specifically, like my first thought is like, well, first and foremost, I'm a father. And secondly, I'm a husband. And third, I am the co-founder of Penji. I wasn't always that way because I was always like, oh, promote Penji, and promote my life because my life's work was, for the longest time, I was defined, in my opinion, by, my business career. But then as, you hold on to this little one, everything changes. And I'm sure, Young, you can agree with that one.
Absolutely.
Everything changes once you have a child in the best possible way. So I guess what I do as a job is I'm one of the co-founders of a company called Penji.
I love it. Yeah. Well, tell us more about Penji. I mean, as a former customer, I'm very familiar with it, but I'd love for our listeners to know more too.
Yeah, so I would say my life's mission is to provide world-class services, marketing services at a price point that's 70% less than a digital marketing agency. And I do that, and we do that by graphic design. We've expanded into web development. We will be expanding to other variations of the sectors of the world of marketing. But we don't want people to be charged thousands upon thousands of dollars for a service, especially with the world of AI. However, there's a need for that, right? There's certainly a need for these thousands and millions of dollars campaigns. But we want to be able to service a sector of people that can't necessarily afford that. And they're entrepreneurs and they're business professionals that need help, but don't want to be able to spend that full amount of money in order to get that. And that's more or less what Penji is. It's a creative subscription service. You sign up for our service, you get paired with our people. We do use AI, but you still need a human to kind of use it and edit it and modify it. And so if you're looking to onboard a person internally, Penji is a really great way and a inexpensive way to be able to receive world-class service at a premium price, at a discounted price.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I love the value prop. I didn't know that you guys incorporated AI. That's incredible. I love that. It's been a while since I've used Penji, so yeah, that's a cool addition.
Well, we use AI. Well, first of all, if you don't use AI, I think you're silly. But I think we use AI in the sense to supplement if you need something fast, right? Whereas if you need something curated, everything will still be curated more or less. But there are elements of AI that we do use in order to make sure that you receive something as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
That way you know that people are constantly, that you know that we're working, that we're thinking, and we're not just like sitting on our butts like waiting for you to provide us information. We're going to use a combination of AI in addition to, customization to make sure that you get the final product that you're looking for.
Yeah, I love that. And I will say that my favorite thing about the service when I used it was the account manager, actually.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of just like not having to like think about managing another tool or even person, right? Or a combination thereof, because there is something to be said about just like getting that off of your brain and moving on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like you are a dad, you have a business to run, you have customers to keep happy. And like the last thing you want to do is log into a service like Penji and, do stuff. Like what if it could be done more or less for you? And that's kind of like where we're gearing towards is having Penji be the creative brain behind your business and not necessarily just like the task that you do on a daily basis to make sure that your customers or your brand is happy.
That's awesome, man. And then when did you have your kid, if you don't mind me asking? At what point
11,
when the business versus the kid?
Yeah, 10-ish, 10 and a half months or so ago. So she's, we're in the weeds. So we're like out of the weeds at this point, but we're in the clear. I would say we're more in the clear now than anything. And I'm sure there's a new set of challenges that are going to, be bestowed upon us. But for right now, it's been the best, man.
That's awesome, man. If you love it that much, you're going to love it even more. I mean, at least for me, anecdotally, I will say I really, really loved being a dad for sure the moment I became one, but it really picked up at year one. There was just like this huge spike in connection because they become less reliant on just being taken care of, and they can like reciprocate, like communicate through eye contact and giggles and laughs and stuff. And I think guys are just more transactional by nature, you know, and
Yeah,
so
for sure.
we definitely feed off of those kind of like reciprocated communications, and that starts happening a little bit more now. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what you think.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, she's like just not learned, she knew it, but she's like getting excited about using it, but like, more,
Yeah.
she'll do that, which is just awesome because it's like,
Yeah.
holy crap, man, like
Mm.
this thing is communicating with me now.
Yeah.
And then she'll do, oh my God, I completely escaped me, but more is definitely one of them. Hi, bye. Like all these really cool stuff that is just, it's a new part of it. And I would say like the first 3 months or so is just like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, like, especially for somebody like myself, I had no idea,
Yeah.
but man, it's great. So I'm excited, talk to you privately in 6 months from now to figure out like what the hell's going on and get
Yeah.
advice
Oh yeah.
from people like yourself because you've lived it and you're probably much more better at it than I am.
No, that's the funny thing. It's like no one really knows what they're doing. That's the funny secret about parenthood is like we're all just figuring it out. But I will say that anecdotally speaking, yeah, it was really fun for me at like the 1 year mark. It was really good connection. But that's exciting, man. That's awesome. So you
Yeah.
definitely had this business for a lot longer before having a kid. Did you
Yeah.
feel like you stabilized the business enough to have a kid, or what was the timing of that? Like, walk me through
So
some of the thought process.
really good question. I want to caveat real quick
Yeah, go for it.
about that question
Sure.
because the question that you just asked is about, so how did you prepare? I'm going to get back to it so I don't lose my train of thought.
Okay.
I need to write a quick note.
I love that.
How did you prepare? So I'm going to answer that question shortly. But when you ask that question because you lived it before, right? Like you went through that challenge. And I, unfortunately or fortunately, am on the older side of what I wish that I was actually a parent. So like I'm 36 right now, had her at 35. Most of my friends had kids at 30, a little bit younger than that.
Right.
And I wish that I met my wife sooner, and I wish that I was able to have a kid sooner so I could be, not like an old, I don't want to be I don't think I'll be an old dad, but like I don't want to be too much older personally. That's just within my own life. And I don't know when you had kids yet, but the questions that you ask when you experience something are so different because when one of my best friends had a kid and he's now 7 years old, not once did I ever check in with my friend. I never sent him a text message that was like, "Hey man, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing with your kid? Like,
Yeah.
what's it like?" I never checked up on him. I never asked him how he was doing. I never asked him the question of like, how did you prepare for it? Because it was a thought that I never came into my mind because I never experienced it. So the question that you just asked about how did you prepare, no one would be able to ask that question unless you had a kid yourself. Right? Would you agree?
Totally. I mean, but there are certain things that I was planning for. I mean, like, I will say I definitely was very conscious of the fact that I wanted a stabler job before I had kids. So, like, I did make some pretty bad professional decisions to take a stable job and create some stability financially for my family. And the reason why I say it was bad is because I'm an entrepreneur. It made me so depressed. I got so fat and so unattractive. My wife's like, we got to take risks because this is very unattractive. Like you're
Yeah.
the largest you've ever been, and this is not healthy. And so I definitely made those conscious decisions to try to slow down and take a job that was more stable. And so, I mean, there's something to be said there, right?
100%. And that's the journey, right? Everybody has a different journey. I
Yeah.
myself, and I would love to be able to talk to you about this as well. I actually have a question for you on your show. I know
Please.
this is your show, but something
Go
that
for
I've
it.
been thinking about. Hopefully, you don't mean any disrespect for that.
Yeah,
But let me answer your question first of how
please.
did I prepare, and then I would like to propose a question. So how did I prepare? I really like gave myself a timeline of I had to delegate everything, and especially as like the position that I'm in a lot of meetings. I'm talking to a lot of people. I I had this deadline for myself of like, I need to get everything done by then. But then every time that I tried to prepare, something else came up. And then I ended up like not delegating as much as I could. And it probably took me around the 10-month to 11-month mark in order for me to actually be fully delegated where I can, I don't have to run everything every single day. So it probably took me like 9 more months after the fact of my original, due date for myself. But I really tried hard prior to that to automate as much as I possibly can, using systems, processes, procedures, and everything else like that. So,
It's awesome.
but I wasn't fully done.
Yeah.
Would you say your situation was similar?
No, mine, like when I wanted kids, I was definitely wanting to be a lot more further along in my career. So similar to you, right? Like
Yeah.
having more stuff kind of set up and structured and processed. And I wasn't an entrepreneur when I had ultimately had kids, but I definitely had the same mindset. Like, how can I like operationalize everything so I can focus on this? But I was definitely, it was driven more just kind of psychologically. I mean, to be honest with you, I was very scared of having kids for the longest time, and I would kind of run away from it, to be honest, until I hit 36 years old. And then once I
Yeah.
turned 36, like a huge like light switch clicked, and it was the exact opposite. Like I wanted babies so badly. And it went from like almost fear to just like unbelievable desire to be a dad. And so very similar to you, I had kids very late. So I'm a lot older, but I'm Asian, so we look like we look like an undecipherable age, But yeah, I had kids when I was 37 as well, or maybe it was 38. Yeah, it was like a switch, and I don't know, it's just like some sort of like internal thing. I just like clicked for me, and then it didn't matter if I was prepared or not. I just wanted kids, and so we started going for it, and then that prompted me to want a more stable job and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's interesting to talk to entrepreneurs though, because a lot of people are not having kids when they're at a high risk company, So in entrepreneurship is typically high risk, and so you typically try to lower the volatility when you start thinking about having kids. And in your case, it sounds like you actually did it while you were an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point. It's funny how I answered that question. I didn't even think about all the other things of like what you went through, because it's, for me, I never had a real job.
Oh, you've always been an entrepreneur.
I've never been a W-2. I was a W-2 at like 23, but after that, I haven't been W-2 at all.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah. So like, I don't, my whole life has been a risk. And I've gone from poor to, moderate success to, not getting paid for several years to having, the success of what we have now, a very stable business that it's now up to us as leaders to either succeed further or fail miserably. And luckily my wife has an amazing job. And so, worst case scenario, there's a backup, but like, the thing that I always have, and the question I was kind of asking you is like, now that I am at a point in the business career and entrepreneurship career where I have the money and the income to be more smart with financial decisions. The next goal is to retire my wife. And that's something that like I'm constantly thinking about. And she wants that. Like, it's not a matter of like, again, she has a great, amazing corporate job and she loves it, but like that's something that she wants. And so now there's this thought and this pressure of like, holy crap, man, like how am I going to be able to, what do I have to do in order to make this possible? And so it's like added pressure. The question that I had for you more or less was like, do you have these thoughts and pressures as a dad? Because like, that's right now, that's probably, it's not even the management of everything of the baby stuff, of the child stuff. It's like the thoughts that I have is, what can I do? Especially as an entrepreneur, my brain is constantly like, how much more, how can we grow the company 10x, right? In order for us to be able to receive an income that gets her. What can I do as a side where it eliminates, maybe it takes 1 or 2 hours of my day to have sustainable income that I can make and grow on the side in order to help her grow. Like, these are the thoughts, the crazy thoughts that I have now, is trying to find ways to the quickest possibility to retire my wife so she can focus on growing, raising and growing the children full time.
Dude, I love that. I mean, I will tell you, like, it's very honorable and it's very interesting that you're driven by this desire. And it's awesome that she wants that as well, too. And I think it's really cool. And And I can answer very personally for me. The moment I met my wife and we started even dating, we talked about one of us staying home with the kids. It was very important for us to do that. And it was a little bit uncomfortable because I will say when we started having one of us stay home, and it was her, and it was literally based on the fact that I think I made like $15,000 more a year. It wasn't even that much, but I like literally drew the short straw because it wasn't even like a gender thing. It was just like whoever made the most was going to work, and then the other one was going to stay at home, and then we're going to lower our cost of living to propagate this value prop that we wanted to have when we had kids, and we both agreed to it like very, very early on in dating. So that's what we did. We just lowered our cost of living, and we just lived lesser to have one of us at home. And so it's always been kind of the case. And then obviously for me now, it's like stacking pressure to basically provide for my family, and so being able to do that's been a big pressure for me, which inevitably led me back to entrepreneurship and being able to build something more. And so I think my answer to you is probably a little less the way that you're thinking about it, but I will say that I've always started with that desire to have one parent at home. I think that being a parent is super honorable, and it's one of the most important jobs that we can do. And I would much rather, like you said, work extra hours and provide for my family so that we can have that full person do that. And so I work a lot, man. I mean, and no one's really asked me that question, but I mean, I'm working like crazy. So I work my normal day job to build my business and provide an income for my family, and then I work a second full-time job to build assets that build passive income, or at least cash flow income or semi-passive income, so that I can actually start to unwind some of my active income. And the goal is that by next year, I told my wife for 5 years I was going to essentially just work like a dog. And then next year is 5 years. And so we'll see how well I've done. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey. And so the podcasting is part of that, right? Because, it's like my way of exploring how to do this better. And talking to entrepreneurs like you really helps me. And even you asking this question really helps me think about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. But the show is really a guide for me to like solicit information and gather information on how other entrepreneurial parents are doing this. Because like, obviously I'm doing this in a silo in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways I'm not, it sounds like, because it sounds like you're walking the same journey as well, trying to figure that out. My one piece of advice for you is start figuring out what you're naturally good at. And it took me a long time to figure out what I'm naturally good at that I can do very, very quickly. And then I leveraged that one core competency to develop additional income streams.
Yeah.
And I did it through small business building. And then in your case, I believe you have co-founders, because I've talked to you guys previously when I was a customer about even investing and different different things. So I believe I talked to somebody else, but I would also talk to your co-founders about your goals and what you're trying to make, because it's also something that you can forecast, right? And I hear this from my mentors all the time, because I've been building a lot of businesses to create passive income, and I own 13 small businesses now, right? But I've had a lot of mentors tell me, like, with your skill set, you should just pick one and turn that into like a $30 or $40 million business, and then you can make just as much, if not more, by doing that one thing really well. Sure. And that's absolutely true too. There's a million ways to skin this cat. And so I would talk to your co-founders to say, hey, what are your aspirations and goals? Because this is where I need to be making. This is how much money I need to be making.
Yeah, for sure. It's the, and I agree with you. Fortunately, I'd say for a company like Penji, that is it, right? Like that is, from my personal opinion, my Mona Lisa, right? Everything I've ever made has always been that. And it's always been gearing me towards it. And so, I'm lucky enough to have that under my tool. It's just I'm impatient.
Yeah.
Like, cause it's like, I want it now,
Heck yeah.
and I know where it is, where it's going to be. And I'm very grateful for that, projection of where it is. But it's like, sometimes things don't, and maybe you can agree, you have a 5-year goal, but you probably wish that you did it in 2, right? Or you probably wish that you did it in 3. Or
well, I think people think I'm crazy for trying to do it in 5. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, it's going to take you 20, 30 years to do this. Yeah. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I'm like,
100%, right?
Yeah.
And I'd say that's like I want to retire her now, like I want to do it right now. And so I agree 1000% with you on that. But it's just, I don't know, for me, my brain goes 7,000 miles a minute. And so it's just, focus is hard at times, and it is possible. I feel like I do a pretty strategic job of it, but man, but when you're trying to do it, when you're trying to help your family, I think the pressure is so much different than that of of just like, well, how can I grow the business? Because when you grow a business, you have to be very strategic. Any wrong move can literally destroy everything you just created. Whereas
Absolutely.
when you're trying to do something that's completely different than that, you have a little bit more room to be creative, I guess, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, especially at your size, right? I mean, that's the other thing too, because you're not navigating a speedboat anymore, where like a small couple dips you can pick back up from.
100%.
Yeah, you're actually steering I'd say I don't know, a yacht or maybe at least a bigger boat, right? It just
Yeah.
takes longer to turn. Yeah, you can't.
It's funny because I still see it as a small boat, but to some people, it's like, yeah, it could be a yacht, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's a big boat. I mean, that's what I mean, from the last time I talked to you, or at least your co-founder I talked to, it seemed like it was a much bigger business. But yeah, that's awesome, man. It's a really hard thing to balance between the impatience of a entrepreneur and the desire to get things done is like the never-ending problem and cycle, right? It's like you have all these ideas, and how do you harness that energy? And so you've always been an entrepreneur, though, right? So that's what you're saying. Other than the small dalliances you had when you were a teenager, sounds like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know anything else.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And my wife lived the complete opposite career, which is she's always been in corporate America.
Hmm.
So it's interesting to see like her perspective because it's like, I ask her like, how do you run meetings? Or like,
Yeah.
how do you do this and how do you do that? And she's like, oh yeah, we do this. I'm like, damn, that's good. Like,
Should I be doing that?
yeah,
That's awesome. So you guys talk about the business.
yeah, a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What does she think about your business and you being an entrepreneur?
I mean, the reason why I married her, believe it or not, is she was the only person that was understanding and supportive.
You're
And
shitting me.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Well, not the only reason. I mean, she's very pretty and nice and sweet and all that stuff. Um, but
Good save. Good save.
yeah,
Just in
yeah,
case she watches this later, you
yeah,
can you
yeah.
can add a couple more if you want.
She probably won't. No offense to you, but no. I mean, like when you have these ambitions, it's really hard for a person to wrap your head around it. And you say these goals, like the goal that you have for 5 years. Most people said like you're crazy. You're not going to be able to do it in 20. But I promise you, and there's a very high probability that when you said it to your wife, she was like, "Yeah, you could do it." Right? Like
Totally.
that was it for me, right? And it took me a really long time to find somebody that is crazy as I am about this stuff. And when I said to her like, "Oh, this is what I do and this is how I do it," she was just like, "Oh, cool," and asked more questions and started to be more understanding and be more curious. And then I went to her parents, and they're the same thing. Like, that's amazing. Whereas the opposite is true when it comes to my parents, where it was like, well, this is what I want to do in life. And like, no, 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 you're not going to be able to do that. You have to go get a real job. And it's like, it's hard. It's hard to be able to receive that type of criticism and understanding because, you have these ambitions and goals and drives, and it's really difficult to be able to get them. But it's also so much easier when you have people to back you and understand you.
Totally. Totally. Yeah, I think it's a very weird, understated a thing
Oh
about.
God, it's so lonely.
It's so lonely, yeah, and it's also just kind of sad how accidentally your closest family and friends discourage you and bring you down. Accidentally, I'm assuming, right? Because I will tell you,
Yeah.
once you start getting some level of success, they all come back saying they knew you would do it the entire time.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that as well?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Luckily, I would say, and this is by design, I don't think there's many people that really understand the true size of our business, which is, we like being that underdog mentality, and we'd love to be able to pull a rug whenever we have the ability to do so. And so I like it when people doubt me personally. It actually
Oh,
fuels me
interesting.
a little bit more. That's just me.
I love that. You got
Yeah.
that little chip on your shoulder. You gotta yeah, I love it.
That's
Gives
the
you that little
foundation of
extra
our
juice.
business. Truly, that's the foundation
Yeah.
of Penji. It has always been, we're an ugly team in a lot of ways. There isn't a single person that has experience in corporate America in our business. There isn't a single person in our business that, has done this before. But we're just a team of people that don't quit. And we're a team of people that just constantly test and
Yeah.
change. And then that's really what has made us successful to this day.
I love that, man. Let me ask you another question here, just to kind of round this out. Do you, knowing what you know about your wife in the corporate America and having the parallel of being an entrepreneur your entire life, do you have any ambitions for your daughter?
Really good question. So, like, when you have a kid, you have to create like these morbid things called wills and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing.
It's so strange.
So strange.
Yeah. Like, did you do it when they first were born, or did you do it a little bit after?
When
Like,
they were first born, and then we're
forceful.
gonna do another set because now we're smarter and wiser, and there's like,
Yeah.
there's like there's all sorts of things you can do. We can talk offline about it, but like
Yeah, like
setting up a
holding
trust.
companies and
Yeah,
trust and all
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
not like, and then you see the algorithm is like giving it to you every single goddamn day. And you're like,
Yeah.
crap, man. Like, do I really need to build a trust? Like, do I have to invest in all this other stuff? Like, I don't freaking know. Like, the amount
So
of questions
funny.
I've asked my accountant is just like insane. And they're just like, dude, where are you getting this information? And I'm like, well, guess what? Instagram told me to ask you this, and now I'm doing it.
I
Um,
love it.
but I set a will up, and basically it's like, if you, the one caveat was you can have money for business purposes, but you have to have 10 customers first before you are receive access to any dollar amount for business. If only if it's for business. I don't think I'm going to push her into entrepreneurship at all. However, because it's very dark and lonely. However, because like nobody, I don't wish the thoughts for my worst enemy, the thoughts that go on in my head on a daily basis. It's like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm strong. I'm smart. I'm stupid. I'm an idiot. Like, and this happens all within like before lunch. So it's like really difficult to be able to do it. But I do think in the 2020, 2050 world or whatever it is, like you have to have multiple streams of income to survive. Like
Yeah,
there's no way that you're going to be able to afford a house
yeah,
unless you have multiple streams of income.
yeah. It's getting really pricey for sure. Yeah,
Impossible to live. So I think she has to be an entrepreneur in some aspect, but I would not put this world that I live in on her at all.
yeah. That's so refreshing to hear you say that, man. I freaking love it. I mean, obviously, you're gonna support her, and I can already tell
For
that
sure.
you're gonna support her no matter what she chooses, and you're gonna love her for that because it sounds like you're really dedicated into being a good dad. But it's really nice to hear like your actual inner thoughts because I feel the same way. Like I mean, I would love it if they did. To be honest with you, I'm actually okay with it, but I would want to do it under the precursor that I would support them and help. Right.
Yeah.
So it's totally like nepotism, but I mean, that's the whole point of getting wealthy, in my opinion, is to
Sure.
like basically be able to guide them through this process of like how to build wealth and like how to retain it and hold it, you know? And so
Were your parents or I mean, if this is too personal, like was your wife and parents or whomever that is close to you understanding of like your idea of entrepreneurship and stuff?
yes and no. My dad's an entrepreneur, so that's been easier for me to adopt this mindset because he owned a little liquor store in California as a start when he was young, and then he built that and he kept doing more and more businesses and he moved us around a lot. So I've always watched him build, you know, very, very with hard work, sweat, equity, blood, tears, you know, just build and build and build and build and rise up the socioeconomic status in one lifetime. And so that's been very like inspiring, but also just steeped in my core memory. So even when I had W-2 jobs, I think I always like felt very comfortable being an entrepreneur because I grew around it, right? But as it relates to my mom, she's very low risk. She's very the quintessential stereotypical Asian, right? She's like, why would you go do that? Like, go get a go be a doctor or an engineer, right?
Mhm.
I think it was so funny because when I turned 40, I told my mom I was going to lower my cost of living so I can start a business and really invest in this kind of whole concept of being a consultant, you know, fractional COO and CFO. So I told her that I was going to move to small town Texas, lower my cost of living, and then start this business and put my sign out and start going for it on my own. And her response to me was so funny. She was like, okay, thanks for letting me know. I'm going to talk to dad. We're going to think about it and we'll get back to you. Okay. And I'm like,
Yeah. Think
Mom,
about what?
I'm 40 years old. I'm not asking
Yeah.
for permission. I'm literally
Yeah.
telling you. She's like, I'm telling you what I'm doing. And her response to that was, okay, I understand. I'll talk to dad and we'll let you know what you should do. And I'm like, she like literally wouldn't comprehend the
Yeah.
fact that I was making this decision.
That's
It was the
funny.
funniest moment ever, man. Yeah, yeah,
As an adult, like
totally.
you just what do yeah,
I just did it, but I mean,
yeah,
in her mind, I'm still her kid, right? And
for
she
sure.
still wants me to be, you know, a stable W-2 earner and, you know, just kind of methodically grow a stable life for my family. And so in her mind, it's just not even like a thing, you know, and I'm still a baby and I'm still something that she needs to protect. And I don't know if that'll ever go away for her, you know, and that's one thing that I do want to do better for my kids is that I want to be a better evolution of my parents, you know, and I think my parents are great, by the way, and this is no mark on them, but I do want to do a better job of like adapting to them as they grow, because my mom still sees me as a little kid that needs permission to go do something, right? And so it's pretty funny, and I bet you even now, like if I talk to her even now, she would still think that I'm asking for permission, not telling her. It's just the way it is.
You should call her and be like, listen, I'm going to have ice cream for dinner today. So what she says. No, I actually have very, I hope and I pray that I can. So my dad and my mom were blue collar people, and so this idea of
Really?
entrepreneurship this was never even a thought. Like my dad was a truck driver for 40 plus years. My mom was a stay at home mom, probably made like K a year, like max, maybe more. I don't really know.
Yeah.
And so like the idea of this all makes no sense to my parents.
Wow.
And so like, even unfortunately my mom passed to breast cancer about 5-6 years or so ago. And one of the last things I remember is her coming to like a 1 year anniversary of Penji, and she was like, I think I kind of understand what you do now. And that was really cool because she never understood it before. She still probably didn't understand it before she passed away, but kind of had a better understanding than prior.
Yeah.
But I think like the one thing that I want to make sure that I do is unequivocally, regardless of what it is, support Madeline, which is my daughter's name, to the fullest extent, regardless of what it is, to make sure that she is creative always and don't stop her. I'll give you one quick anecdote and to kind of give you an idea of my parents. My brother was really good at a video game. My brother's 12 years younger than me, so they had my brother at my mom's 40, and they had me at like 28 or so. 42 actually. So they had me at 30. And so he's 24 now, and for Twitch streaming and all that stuff, we got really popular.
Yeah.
He's really good at CS:GO, like really good at that game. And he wanted to stream before streaming was cool. And my parents would always say like, don't do it, it's risky. Don't stream. It's like, now this kid's good, like stop his creative growth. And that remains like in my brain nonstop. I want to make sure that whatever it is, as silly as it is, even if it's as silly as streaming and playing video games still can be cool, and it still can be a career.
Yeah.
And support Madeline to the fullest extent, regardless of the creative journey that she wants to go down.
That's amazing, man. And in hindsight, it's really unfortunate because it ended up being a huge industry.
100%.
And a huge profession.
He probably doesn't have the personality as like Ninja and all them, but like I'm sure he would have figured it out, and he was really good.
I mean, it's a massive industry now, right? I mean, it's unbelievable. So in hindsight, like, it would have been a pretty interesting hobby at the very least, if he was that good,
Agreed.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, man. I mean, I repress a lot of these kind of emotions as well too, but I definitely feel like I don't blame them for it. But in my older age especially, but I did harbor quite a few negative feelings about their risk tolerance, because I really listened to them a lot, and they really had a big impact and influence on me when I was younger. And I think that's why I stopped being an entrepreneur, because I was an entrepreneur when I was 18, and I stopped being one because they told me that it was they just influenced me, and they were just scared. They were just scared and nervous for me, and they just wanted me to be safe and protected. And they're first-time parents, man. They were young, and they had me when they were like kids. Jeez Louise, they were like in their early 20s. And so can you imagine, you know what I mean? Like the responsibility and just like trying to figure your life out. And then this kid is like building a business, and he's doing somewhat well. And it's kind of nervous, like it's a lot of nerves. I get it, and now I'm much more understanding of it. And I understand, especially as a dad, I look at my kids, I want them to be safe and happy, and I would literally give my left arm to make sure that happens, but.
Well, I want to share one thing with you.
Yeah, please.
I'm really inspired. I wanted to share the, kudos to you for creating this podcast. And I'm very grateful for obviously, being on it and everything. I want to create a version of that myself. I've always had this thought, and I never had it before until I part of the retirement plan, I guess, is actually creating a platform very similar to what you have, and more so around like I'm calling it Dear Dads. And like all of these thought processes that I've had now I want to explore it very similar to your curiosity of like interviewing people like yourself and interviewing other fathers to be able to understand where their mindset is, to see how they think about finances, to see how they think about their hacking of calendars and things like that. And I really feel like that's something that, I'd love to offer you to be on the show once I get it up and
Yeah.
running, because helping other fathers navigate this journey of fatherhood, I just think that there's a real bond there. And like,
Yeah.
you experience something that I've experienced similar, but you still have a different path than I do. And I think
Totally.
if we could explore that, in the form of a podcast or in the form of something else, like that's where true growth in men really, really achieve, is like having other men to be their support system to help them along this journey.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, and I would love it if you did that. I mean, I think that it's one of those weird things that I make a lot of self-deprecating jokes about it, because my wife likes to joke. She's like, why can't you just get therapy like a normal person instead of make a podcast? But I will say, man, it's like one of the most personally very gratifying and helpful things for me is interviewing other executives and entrepreneurs that are also parents, because for me it's less even about like, I mean, you're a lot more generous because you're trying to help other parents and dads, but for me it's really just selfish, right? I just feel like I can't be the only one that wants to know this stuff, right? And so it's like, how can I seek that knowledge and understand how to better myself and get different points of view and perspectives? Because I think if you get too siloed in your own thoughts and processes, you get lost, and you end up coming up with something that's usually pretty fragmented and incorrect, where if you can aggregate a lot of different thoughts, whether you agree with it or not, it really does open up your mind to new ways of thinking, and it goes back to evolution, right? I mean, my singular goal right now, not singular, but one of my most important goals is just to be a better dad than my dad, right? Like, he was a better dad than his dad, and my job is to continue that evolution of like, hey, my dad was able to provide all of these things for me so that I could be successful and taken care of, and how can I do that and then more, right? What's the next evolution? And my expectation is that my kids will be a better parent than I was, right? And so forth. But how do you do that without education and knowledge and seeking that conversation and dialogue? And then, not to mention, there's really nothing out there. I mean, there's a bunch of dad podcasts that you can find, but they all die after, like, I don't know, they're 5 episodes.
Yeah,
And
sure.
there's just not a lot of like content for, fathers to talk. So I think you
It's
should do
so
it.
many for women.
Yeah.
So many. Like, my wife would always send me stuff like, here's how to prepare for a for a baby, and here's how to do this, and like, and it's fine that it's for women because obviously they have to go through the hardest part. But it's
Totally.
like, no one, and I don't think men are meant. Like, I don't hope this doesn't come off rude, but like, there aren't that many men that are man enough to actually talk about this stuff. Like, it's like sometimes, like when I talk to man, I have a brief personal story. I'm very involved with my kid
Yeah.
because I want to be,
Yeah.
and I want to make sure that I'm experiencing all these things. We used to have an office, we don't anymore, because I want to be here the entire time, and we've catered our lives to that. But then there's other people in this world that like that I'm associated with. They're cheapening the experience, I think. And it stinks that there are men in this world that are okay with the woman to do everything. And I don't want to be that guy. Like, I want to be the guy that is driving and cooking. Like, I've cooked my daughter 3 things in the past 7 days, and she hated every single one of them. But guess what? I'm going to continue doing it, right? And
Yeah.
so, like, these traditional norms of like, oh, that's a woman's job, or that's a, whatever job. Like, I want to make sure that to the men, I want to be friends with the men that are being the father, the best version of themselves, whatever that definition is, but having a 50-50 split, and not a 70-30 or an 80-20, like 50-50, or even, I hope that you're 51 as a man, and not just 50. And I want to talk to, those are my people. I don't like, I'm even starting to, and maybe you can attest to this very briefly, but like, I'm even starting to judge parenting styles when I find out that they're doing something with their kid, and I'm like, you sure about that? Like that, like your kid, my somebody that's close to me, their kid doesn't sleep like 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that really your? your kid's fault, or is that your fault as a parent? But anyways, that was a tangent. But
No, I
that
love it,
I want
man.
to hang out with more people like you.
Oh man, that's awesome, dude. Thanks for saying that. And I love that you have so many of these opinions. I think it's really great that you do. I mean, the reality for me is like I'm like pretty zen about it. I feel like for me it's like too utilitarian in a lot of ways, right? Like I talk to so many parents, and if you go back, like you can hear the disparity in values, you know, among the guests. And I will say it's like all over the map, and it'll be really fun for you to watch them because you'll have a lot of opinions on them.
Yeah,
But
for
for me, I
sure.
just try to stay as open minded as possible and really look at the end result, which is so terrible to say, but it's very utilitarian. It's like, did the kid come out happy and are they
Yeah,
relatively normal and are they
it's a great
functional?
point.
Then I'm kind of like, who am I to judge if they outsource
For
that
sure.
or if they, you know, split
For
the,
sure.
you know, like, who am I to judge? I just want to learn from it, right? Because as long as they're not like raising terrible people and they're
Yeah.
trying their best to, you know, provide a safe and loving environment, I try my best to just like lower it because like my thing is that like there's like a huge level of unknowns right in the world, and the older I get the more I realize the less I know. And I know that's very cliche to say, but I just like every year I get older, man, I'm just like, man, I'm just more and more curious because I just realize how stupid I am.
For sure. No, I
Yeah,
I'm right there with you. And you know, I hope to be there in that zen at some point.
yeah,
I'd say right now I'm probably on the more judgmental side than the
totally,
more understanding side. And I
totally,
think that's the next progression. And that's what I want to explore because I
yeah.
don't want to be a douche like I am right now. Like
No,
I
no,
want
no,
to
I didn't mean that at all.
No,
That's
no,
not
no.
what I'm saying at all. Yeah.
I'm calling myself that.
Okay.
You did not call me that.
Yeah, yeah.
I am a douche and that's fine.
You should be opinionated because it helps you form your points of view
Exactly.
and your pillars for how you want to raise your kid by
100%.
understanding what you don't want to do and what you want to do, and I think that it's important, and then eventually hopefully you'll be open to hearing other people's points of views after you've established that. But can I
Exactly.
leave you with one thing that I know this is like a really weird episode because I'm talking a lot, but I would love to share one thing that I did learn about this thing about just kind of patience and understanding is that by my fourth or fifth year of being a parent, I literally stopped having like road rage or any issues driving
Mm,
because I just like now immediately assume everyone is a parent of a toddler.
dude.
And I just like go, they probably have a kid that's like crying and hungry. They probably haven't slept in like 48 hours. There's probably mac and cheese stuck to the back of their ear and like cookies like stuck up in their pants. You know what I mean? Like, and they're probably just exhausted, you know? And I
Yeah.
just go, yeah, cut me off. Go ahead. Just go
Yeah.
in, go left. And my road rage and like my anger on the streets is like literally gone to nothing
That
because I
makes
just assume everyone is a parent now. And I just have this deep empathy for everybody on the road, assuming that they have a toddler in the back seat, just like trying to do the best that they can and survive the day.
It's I think one of the best parts about this interview is the thoughts that I have are finally being validated. And I think like if nothing else, to your point, exploring your itch of curiosity, like I mean, I'm only 10 months and a half months into this. Like I'm not as seasoned as you are and you've been more experienced, but like that quick story, I'm there, you know, like I agree
Awesome.
with you. I
Yeah,
agree with you on that. And I really do try to have that level of empathy and understanding. And it's cool because I'm like, that's all right, man. And I never thought about it. I've never explored it with anybody else before other than
yeah,
my wife. But we're on the same page. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, man, maybe they do have that or whatever it is. Anybody can cut me off at this point. I don't care.
exactly.
Nothing can bother me anymore to that extent,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because I'm like, like whatever, dude. As
I'm
long as you're happy,
tired.
it's all,
I'm too
yeah.
tired trying to like survive being a good
Correct.
dad, you know?
100%.
Yeah,
Exactly
exactly.
right, man. I love it, man.
Yeah.
You're a great father, young and a great man. And I'm really grateful that you chose Penji so many years ago,
Yeah.
and obviously invited me on this show and hopefully we can explore our relationship even further.
Yeah, I would love that. Let me switch gears because I want to get you on your schedule. I know you're a busy guy running a successful business and trying to be a super dad here. So let me ask you some of my rapid fire questions. And I'll shorten a little bit because of the timing. But one piece of advice that you have for other parents or soon to be parents.
Read a million books every single day.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And you're talking about to the kid or to yourself as well, or both?
If you have time to read for yourself, sure. But you know, the amount of times that I've read Little Blue Truck, Oh
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Places You'll Go. I
Heck
mean,
yeah,
like
dude.
we read like, which is by far the best book ever written, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Holy crap. My parents never read to me. I know this is rapid fire. I'm sorry. Real quick.
You're
My
good.
parents never read to me. My wife reads like a million books a year. I can't read basically. And so now I read books to my daughter. She is obsessed with books.
I
My
love it.
one advice, read 4 times. Every time she's asleep, going to bed, every nap, she reads 2 or 3 books.
Yeah,
And she constantly wants books to be read to her. Doesn't touch a phone.
I love it. Enjoy
Read.
it, man. Cherish it and
Read.
enjoy it.
Read.
They eventually learn how to read on their own, and you get that taken away from you.
That's fair.
Cherish it as much as you can. That's a really great piece of advice.
I appreciate that.
Next question. One thing that you learned about yourself that was very surprising after becoming a.
Everything is a season and everything passes. And the hard thing that's hard now is not going to be the hard thing tomorrow. And to communicate with your wife or your partner to the fullest extent about everything, because you are your team, and you're doing this together and you need to do it together. So that, like, relying on my partner and my best friend, that was like the biggest thing that I learned. You know that when you're married or whatever it is, but like you really find out when you're in the weeds and you both have no sleep and you're yelling at each other, but you don't mean to, but then you come to center and say, hey, like, what are we doing here?
Dude, that was so deep.
Yeah.
That was so good. Yeah, I that's a really, really interesting learn. Yeah, absolutely. I hope your wife does listen to this. Actually, I really hope that.
Maybe if I do something bad, I'll be like, hey, I talked about you about this.
All right, let's bring this home. So, when you're not being a super dad and running a successful company, what do you do for downtime? What's your fun activities?
Just did a CrossFit competition yesterday.
What?
Yeah, that was
Good
awesome.
for you.
Yeah.
How'd you do?
First one ever. I'm sore as hell.
Nice.
Working out to me, how did I do? I mean, you're an entrepreneur. What do you think my answer is going to be? I could have done better, like,
Exactly.
so working out is gardening. My wife really loves flowers, touching earth. Yeah. That's why
awesome.
I moved out. I moved away from the suburb from the city to the suburbs because
Nice.
I can't deal with too much stimulation. I need zen. And so I'm in the suburbs and we have a garden and we go there every day, every morning, every night.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I do for fun.
That's good, man. Gardening is really good. I'm starting to get into gardening as well because my wife likes to garden, but it's really helpful to like turn the entrepreneur brain off and slowly nurture something. It's like there's a lot of benefit to that for sure.
Let me know how far along you get into this because my hatred of deer is very high. So like if you have like I'll know when we're on the same level when a deer hops over your fence and starts eating all your crap, because that's what's been happening to me for the past 2 weeks. And I don't condone animal cruelty, but like
I'm not at your level yet. I'll
I'm
definitely
thinking
text
about
you when
it.
I
I'm
get
just
there.
saying that.
That's funny. Jonathan, well, thank you so much for being on the show. I know I know you're really busy and I really appreciate you taking the time, man. It's been really fun and funny for sure to have you on the episode.
Honored, man. Very grateful.
All right. Thank you, brother. We'll stay in touch, okay?